What is the fair price for XRP on the market? How can we make that right? How do we get there? Well, Molly Elmer and her team put this to the test about a year ago, and since then this thread has been showing up in my timeline more and more, which means more and more people are talking about it. I wanted to go over all the things that she and her team have put into those models again, so let's talk about this. The middle rate for those was usually somewhere between $12,822 and $61.231. As for the range, it went from about $9.81 to $513,000 by coins. You can see that there are many things going on here. I want to go ahead and make this happen one step at a time. I can even include the white paper at the bottom of the page in the description. Let's jump right in and start going through this if you want to test it or follow along as I do it. Please start the drum roll. It was in December 2020 that the SEC sued Ripple, which caused XRP to drop in value and the market rate to go down. Over the next few months, Jimmy Valley or Valhalla Capital saw some strange information about the case that made him wonder what was really going on. Around the third quarter of 2021, Jimmy and the rest of the Valhalla Capital team decided to send a message to the US Central Bank, also known as the Fed, offering to sell their XRP at a much higher price than what was available on platforms. The point became to draw attention to the rise of regulatory capture and the need to talk about what it means. There were good logical questions here. For that reason, people have been wondering, oh, you already know, is the government going to buy my XRP back for $10,000? Remember hearing people talk about this. That's kind of what they were looking into here. All right, it says that if the CC's case hurt retail holders, how would one figure out the economic damage? Because you should think about this. Where might Ripple and maybe the XRP topi be now if it hadn't been sued in the first place? Would it still be at 52 cents or could it be at $5, $50, or $500? It took longer for people to adopt because of what the SEC did. And there are a lot of shady things going on behind the case itself. Also, we're not going to talk about Ethereum Gate right now. However, there were some shady things going on. That's when the idea of an honest marketplace fee and how it's different from a marketplace price came up. Soon after Vallejo Capital asked a larger group of people to get together the confidential committee, I wasn't invited, I'm just joking, to work together and make a plan to handle the end and harm, the collusion and harm caused by the SEC. In the fall of 2022, the confidential group put together a small evaluation group made up of people who knew about the quantitative financial valuations. There are 6 different ways to value something, and the valuation committee chose to share our results along the way. This way, not every style has been be or finished at the same time. So those were some of the clothes they wore. What do you have? The global transaction size, the global money supply transaction, the daily extent predicted financial system, growth rate, XRP circulating deliver, XRPL transactions in line with 2D cut price fee, and then years to regular country, which is strange. The choice caused a lot of anger because you were learning and sharing what we were learning on Twitter and YouTube as we went along. Some of our critics thought we should have waited until we were sure we were telling the truth. To our surprise, the results of the first set of fashions inspired other people to step up and create more styles. This proved we made the right choice by comparing how open and public our system is to the behind closed doors process our public workers at the SEC are using for the return process. The try was getting stronger. What we found out would have been very different from the paper we are putting out now if we had waited to show it. One false idea about the effort was that the models were paid to give people false information so they would buy drugs with hopium in them. However, for most people who took the time to really understand what fashion was doing, the other end became clear. A lot of people are losing a lot of money because of the case. There are 6 models that cover a lot of different possible outcomes. These models also show that the price of XRP would rise higher than it is now because of the case. Another thing it talks about is different methods. Let's take a look at this store of prices. We have fast transactions, big bangs, cut price fees, virtual cycles, the value of 23 and 20 and 30. Let's take all the money and then only accept 10% by 2030. On the timeline of events, XRP would work without the stigma and misunderstanding about the different types of XRP getting in the way. With the 6 models, the range of possible output numbers could be very large. The rate is strongly affected by 2 main factors that are linked to each other. We talk about these factors as transaction fee and store cost. Both are talked about in great detail in the paper, as well as the idea of a virtual cycle, which is the changing relationship between those factors. Yes, this is correct. So the virtual cycle flywheel says that as more people use XRP for deals involving digital assets, the XRP fee goes up. Then you might also have a rate boom that makes people want to save money, which lowers the supply of goods that can be bought and sold. After that, new use cases show up. Javon's paradox moving up and down and side to side. Adoption and growth for XRP. Then there are rival forces and rising shop value, which lead to calls for an exponential price increase for XRP. As far as we know, the only other useful evaluation of the scope has been done in the digital asset field. A group of people with a wide range of professional skills work together as volunteers to build a chain of quantitative models to understand the cost drivers by using virtual currency. Also, this is the XRP valuation form, right? It was different from $9.81, going all the way up to this crazy price of $513,000 based on XRP. To get that price, you need quadrillions of dollars on the XRP record or a very, very low offer with a lot of cash. Very good responses were given to the version released at first. A small group of people responded very badly, while the majority of people were grateful and encouraged our efforts. The critics assumed wrong things and came to the wrong conclusions about why we did what we did. When you think about how open the process was, this happened very quickly. Again, compared the SEC's method of secret deliberation. A lot of podcast interviews have been done that talk about the mission's history and its goals. No matter what different models suggest in terms of possible prices, one thing stays the same. The years that the XRP record